Hey, welcome to Geometry. I'm so excited to get things started this year. I know we'll be remote, but really looking forward to it this year. Um, let me just start by introducing myself a little bit. My name is Ron King. This will be my 20th year at Chinook, 23rd overall. Um, and I've mainly taught math, algebra, and geometry my entire time here. Um, a little bit about me. I was born a Army brat. We Growing up, we moved from the U.S. to Germany repeatedly every 2 to 3 years, and this was one of our stations here was Fort Lewis, way back in the late '70s. I remember when being taken out to see Mount St. Helens when it erupted. And anyway, just grew to love this area. Really love being outdoors. I recently got myself a kayak, and I think I take it out just about every other weekend whenever possible. I love to fish. I love to take my son out to the local short tracks, like down in Chehalis. There's one up in Monroe. There's one in Montesano. Like to get out. Also, I love to coach. Um, Hopefully, when we return to being back in the building this year, hopefully we'll be able to have a boys and girls basketball season because those are the two sports that I coach currently, and then potentially track when we resume in the spring. I've taught for or I coached for 20 plus years. I've coached in the Black Hills Junior Football League. I coached um, the Panthers, and I coached the Wolfpack and the Huskies and the Bulldogs. I coached my son in soccer from Pee Wee all the way up to like 12, 13 years old. So I've done a little bit of everything outside of school. Um, but I just really have a passion for this community. You could probably see me from time to time. I usually am out walking my dog. I walk from my house, which is out here by Woodland, out around Long Lake Park quite a bit. Um, but let's shift gears to geometry a little bit. Given that we're starting remote, there's been a recommendation to limit or prioritize standards um, depending on how the school year goes and how long we remain out of the building. So these are the current standards that um, are considered our priorities at this point. And when you look at this, you go, especially those of you that are in algebra, you go, oh, there's not a whole lot of new stuff there. There is some stuff, but the idea for me, and that this is one of the reasons why you see on the screen we have the little puzzle pieces, is so much of what we're doing is we're learning some new geometry and we're attaching some algebra to it. And we're going to keep climbing that ladder so that when you're done with this year, you can jump into algebra 2 and and really then expand into a plethora of brand new topics. So this year, it's about connecting what you've done in middle school all these years and with algebra and moving that forward. Um, so again, doesn't matter for remote, doesn't matter for face to face. These are some of the tools that I'm going to be using quite a bit this year. Many of you that had me last year for algebra, you'll know all about these. Mentimeter is a really good dynamic, interactive like a PowerPoint type of a presentation tool. It allows students to interact with my presentation no matter where they're at. So I recommend, especially those that are going to be using multiple screens while we're either in school or we're at home in remote learning. Mentimeter is available as an app for most devices. There, you will have a digital access to our new curriculum called Envision Math. Um, as a matter of fact, you will also have the option, okay, and it is purely an option, but I would highly recommend it, that to check out the geometry book from the library at some point, because you can supplement that and get your eyes away from a screen as whenever possible, because the bulk of the assignments that are or problems that are in the textbook are what you'll also find online. Obviously, we're going to be delivering the vast majority of our content through Canvas. GimKit is a really nice tool to play around with to make things a little bit more engaging and to a certain extent competitive. Um, I suggest just these supplies ultimately. A compass is a must have. When we get into constructions, this is a definite because there will be a lot of trial and error at home, a lot of wasted paper. Graph paper is also a must have because the two things will ultimately combine at some point. And then if you have the ability to get a whiteboard and some dry erase markers, I highly recommend that. Um, because so much of what I'm going to ask is solving problems and then, show me or take a snapshot of your work. And a snapshot on a whiteboard works so much better than trying to take a picture of your paper. Um, so, uh, so that's pretty much where we're at. I really am looking forward to when we are able to step foot back into the building because that's when the real fun begins. But for now, I look forward to getting this school year off to a great start and having a blast learning geometry. Also, if you would, there is a link in the description for those of you that have questions, plus a little bit of feedback for me. I plan to use that information at open house when we do our live event, so that people aren't having to stop and ask questions unless they pop up in the moment.